All right, everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Talk Credit. I'm going to talk today about types of credit. This will be the last of the 5 components of credit building that you need to understand. And from here on, we'll be moving into how to repair credit. So the 5 installments, or 5 components, I'll have a playlist designed specifically for that, where you'll be able to actually go in and see just those 5 components. You need to watch that first to get an understanding of what is going to make your credit score look good and remain good before you begin the how-to. So this will be the last of that installment. So without any further ado, let's talk credit. All right, so before we jump right in, what we want to do is let's look at the 5 key calculation components of credit again, and so we can understand what they are before we continue with the final, which is the last, which is the types of credit. And so payment history, which is how you making sure you make your payment, your minimum payment before 30 days of being due. So if you do it before the 30 days is up, you're good to go. You're going to have a clear payment history, even if you don't pay the card off, if you only pay the minimum payment. This is that's the most important key. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you watch that video. But I would advise you to watch all of these 5 videos before you start fixing your credit. Next is utilization, debt to credit ratio, right? This is how much debt you have versus how much credit you have. So if you have $300 in debt, but you got $5,000 in credit, that's going to look good. So the more credit you have versus debt, the better. And you always want to make sure that your debt to credit ratio is at 0 when you're going to go get some more credit, meaning you've paid off all of your credit cards to 0 or at least 10%. Okay. Now, length of credit. What is the length of credit? How long you've had credit? We talked about that. New credit inquiries, right? This is when somebody comes and puts inquiries on your credit report. That is terrible. That's something you do not want to have happen on a regular basis, but there's a way to deal with those, and we discussed that. And then types of credit. Today, we're going to talk about types of credit. So right now, we're going to jump right into types of credit. All right. So I appreciate you, and let's get started. All right. So types of credit. What are the different types of credit? Okay. So first, what we have is the installment credit. Then we have revolving lines of credit, right? And then we have open lines of credit. So installment lines of credit, what is that? Installment credit is a type of loan in which you borrow one lump sum and repay it with interest in regular fixed payments or installments over a certain amount of time. Once an installment credit loan is paid off in its entirety, the account is considered closed. So once it's paid, the account is considered closed. All right. It doesn't continue revolving as a revolving credit line does. So once it's done, it's complete, and you paid it off, and it shows good on your credit report. Okay. So what are the examples of the installment? Mortgages, right? Auto loans, right? You go get it, you pay it off for 36 months or 48 months or whatever the term is, and then it's complete. And what you've done during that time is what's going to show up on your credit report, and it stays on there as positive credit. These are things you don't want to remove if you've done it positively. If it's giving you a positive if it's giving you a positive result on your credit report and you pay these off on time, you definitely do not want to remove these. Okay. Personal loans. If you go to the bank and get a personal loan, right? Then what you're going to do is that is also going to work. I advise Huntington Bank. They have a program where you can actually get a loan without having to apply for a loan, right? It's called Standby Cash, and they report those payments to your credit report. Everything that you get from here on out, when we talk about credit, you want to make sure everything you're dealing with reports to your credit report. If it doesn't, get rid of it. And if you can't get rid of it, pay it off with a credit card. That way, the credit card is reporting to your credit report. You want everything you touch, everything you pay, you want it to report to the credit report agencies. So you'll stop buying things with your debit cards and start buying things with credit cards. You'll have the cash pulled over and then you just pay it off. But you want to buy and you want to start functioning with credit. And as long as you make your payments on time, there's no interest involved. Okay. Now, student loans also are installment credit, right? Student loans, this is where most people have a lot of problems. And we've been able to get student loans and so forth off of credit reports. But I want you to understand, a lot of people fall into this trap. Why? Because you're younger when you get them. You don't understand credit at that time, and therefore you can get in a lot of trouble with the student loans. And the student loan is an installment loan, so it has the same leverage or the same weight on your credit report as mortgages, auto loans, personal loans, right? It's that serious. So these are installment loans. And so what you want to do, you want to make sure you have a type of installment loan, right? That's why I just gave you the hint on the Huntington Bank, because it gives you an installment loan without having to apply for credit. That is extremely important, extremely powerful. They have rules and regulations behind it, but you don't have to apply for credit. And now you can get a personal loan on your account, right? Even though. Now, revolving credit accounts allow you to repeatedly borrow and repay amounts from a single line of credit up to a maximum limit. Okay. You're in control over how much you borrow and ultimately need to pay back. And that's extremely powerful. Interest is charged on any balance remaining after each statement's due date, so it's possible to avoid ever paying interest if you pay your balance in full each month. So what are we talking about? Credit cards, right? As long as you make all your payments on time, the account will remain open indefinitely until you choose to close it. So credit cards will be the example. A home equity line of credit will be the example. And so these are very good forms of revolving or of credit, rather. These are very good forms of credit as well. That's the second type. And the third type is open credit. Open credit is unique in that monthly payments vary and balances are due in full at the end of each billing cycle, right? Now, I'm going to tell you something. I would say the American Express card is more like an open credit line, right? So the American Express card is like an open credit line. I would say that. And it's very important to get that, because American Express is not like a regular credit card where you can carry a balance. You have to pay it in full at the end of each billing cycle. So therefore, it's a little more difficult than the other type of credit cards. I like the other type of credit cards better because I can string them out over time. I like time. Time is the key to credit for me. However, if you just need something, you just want something where you're buying and you're paying at the end of the month, and you're buying and you're paying at the end of the month. And for business credit, which I'm going to get deep into coming in the future, in the near future, the credit reports that we offer, the American Express, right? Now you can use that. However, I like other forms of credit a little better unless I'm building for business. Okay. So if you like 30-day invoice, like let's say you have 30-day invoices, yeah, that's something you want to deal with. But American Express, I like the other forms of credit better for personal credit. For business credit is a big difference. I like American Express for business credit. But for personal credit, I like the other Visa, MasterCard, Discover, those type of cards that give you time to pay it off, right? So open credit, though here we're talking about your utility bills, for instance, gas, electricity, water, cable, cell phone service. Now, the key thing is about these is usually none of these will report to your credit bureau, report to the credit bureaus at all. Gas, electricity, water, cable, they don't report unless you mess up. So they only report negative. They do not report positive, right? They do not report positive. They only report negative. That is something that we really don't want to deal with. We don't want any negatives. So again, I use credit cards to pay these off, but they don't show up as open credit. So what do we use for open credit? We use, if you click on the link that's attached here, you will see where it says and you click on the link tree, it'll say 2 years of good credit. That 2 years of good credit, right, is linked directly to your, it's going to link you directly to open credit. It's going to put 2 years of open credit, good open credit on your credit report. In both, the one we have now is going to do both TransUnion and I think it's Equifax, both Equifax and TransUnion. If not, it's Experian and TransUnion. But the key thing is that this is going to give you an open line of credit. So if you follow our system and you get the secure card, you get the open line, the 2 years of good credit, right? Now what you have is you at least, and you go get the Huntington Bank program I just discussed here, right? If you do those 3 things, you got all 3 lines of credit on your report. That's why we're able to shoot scores up to 700 and above quickly. Okay, so we can shoot those scores up extremely fast. So from, like I said, my score went from 562 to 730 in 2 months. Why? Because with the system that we follow works. So again, this is the last video on the 5 components. And so what I'm going to do next, from here on out, I'll be talking about how to repair credit. And it's going to be step 1, step 2, step 3. And if you do that, your credit will be repaired. This is not hard. It is not rocket science. And then after that, I'll be giving you just information on different forms of credit and how to utilize the different letters and so forth, and understanding what companies can and cannot do. Okay? It's very important to understand what companies can and cannot do, because a lot of times you go back into contracts verbally or sometimes with written requests to these companies that you don't owe any money to. If they're a third party, as I told you before, you don't owe those companies any money. So again, here you see we've updated the link to the link tree link. So you see we got the free credit repair service. You can click on that, get credit for your EIN. Now we offer business credit, link to your EIN, not your social security number. Let's Talk Credit, our YouTube station, which you're on, possibly watching this now. If not, you're in our back office and watching this. Do it yourself credit repair as well. Get paid. You can get paid working with us. We'll show you how to do it and get paid. Right? Add 2 years of good credit on your credit report. If you do the do-it-yourself credit repair, this is the service that I used to get mine up, and I still use them. So if you decide you want to do this, there's a fee involved with it, but it's outstanding. It works. It works. Add 2 years of good credit on your credit report. I talk about that on every single video, which means you definitely need to do it. Additional services as well. Yeah, you can look at all the additional services, all the credit cards that we offer. Everything is there. It's outstanding. You can really look at that. That's good. Our Facebook page, our Instagram page is there as well. And then contact me is there also. So you're able to, I advise you to go through those links and get the information that you need and start working the services that you need. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time. Let's talk credit. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all at the top. All right. If you have any questions for me, feel free. You can post them in the comments below. That's fine. I'll look at them and I'll answer your questions. I might even do videos off your questions, as well as subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time. See you all.